Hi. In this video, I'm going to show you how to debug Light Router from the IDE in a standalone approach. While I'm working on the Open Banking React client application, there are a lot of interactions between the Open Banking client application to the Light Router stateless auth handler, as well as the sign-in site from OAuth2 to the Light Router stateless handler. The interaction is very complicated, so sometimes I have to debug into it to see what's the interaction detail and trying to figure out if one particular path of flow doesn't work or why it doesn't work. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to debug the Light4j application, particularly the Light Router application. If you open the IDE, you can load the NetWRT Light Router application into the IDE. You can basically set up the debug session here. The first debug, I'm going to use a standalone application, meaning the application is not packaged into Docker. It's just like a plain Java POGO, because every Light4j application is just a POGO. So you can easily debug by setting the edit configurations. From the application, I have these settings already. So I'll show you how this settings works. You can create the application, click this plus button, create an application debug session. I just name it as a server. And the main class will be always com netwrt.server.server. The tricky part is this: you have to specify a directory with externalized configuration, because in most cases the application itself doesn't have all the configuration file available, especially for the Light Router. It is normally used to bridge the internet with the internal APIs. So the security is paramount. With the request from our customers, we remove all the internal configurations from the Light Router. So there is no configuration available within the packaged Light Router application. So you have to specify externalized configuration. This forces the user to create the configuration carefully so that it's secure and it is customized to their needs. In order to specify the configuration folder, you use an option, a VM option, -d Light4j config dir equal to this folder. This folder is within my home folder, home still netwrt light config test light router local open banking /debug. So this is a debug folder, and you can see what's inside this debug folder from this repository. It's already checked in, so you can check it out. If you go to this light config test, and you can go to Light Router local open banking, which meaning it runs within your desktop. And if you go to the debug folder, you can see all the configuration here. This configuration folder is exactly the same like the normal config folder. The only difference is the virtual host.yml. Within the virtual host, you can see we are using absolute path for the website. This is the Open Banking sign-in site, which is hosting the single page application for the sign-in interface. Another site is oblightapi.net, which is the open banking application. It's hooked with this domain. It's in the OB build folder. If you build this with Docker container, it won't be using this base anymore. It will be something like /ob sign-in /build or /ob/build. This will be relative path against the Docker container. and this will be mapped in the volume when we create Docker container. So that's the only difference. Let's go back to the IDE. Since we've already got the server set up, and everything else is the same, like you don't need to do any change. You want to start the service. First, I need to shut down the previous service start within the Docker. And I'll start this with a thing. Okay, the previous session, the remote debug session is shut down, and I will start the debug on server. You can see the server is starting and listening to 8443. On my desktop computer, I've already set up the IP table to redirect the HTTPS 443 port to 8443. So even the server start with listening to 8443, you can still go to the browser to hit the server with just a normal HTTP. In my /etc/host, I have ob.let-api.net and ob-sign-in.let-api.net already set up to point to my local IP address. So when I hit this URL, I get this open banking application started. If I click here, it will go to another site called ob-sign-in.let-api.net. And I can use my username and password. The password is 123456. When I sign in, I will have this consent page. The application would like to access your accounts, which is the scope set up in the OAuth server. If I deny, I won't even have access to the API. You can see I click deny. I go back to the same, and if I click here, I got nothing back because I denied login session. Let's do it again. Select Steve Hu 123456 and sign in and accept. After accept, the browser is redirect to ob.let-api.net, which is go back to the application. I can click here. You can see I got access to the API and get the result back. And if I click here, I can select account number. One account number belongs to Steve Hu, and I can see the account for this particular account ID. Here is the balance. Account ID is 222889. So this is the entire application flow. The flow is pretty complicated. Like there are so many redirects. So if you want to debug into it within the IDE, you can do this. In most cases, like when we do the debug, you want to set up breakpoint on one of the handlers. For example, you want to check how the course works. You can open the course HTTP handler and set basically here you can set up a breakpoint to see how the course header is set between different paths. So let's do this. Set up this breakpoint and go back to the browser again, and let's do the login. So if you hit the login, it immediately come here, and you can see it's a get slash. That's simply meaning like this is trying to get the website OB sign in the website itself. And you can see we are trying to get CSS file, JS file. Okay, the application is running. Now, if you go back to the browser, you can see the sign-in page is loaded. Click sign in again. And you can see we got the breakpoint triggered again. This time is basically trying to access OAuth2 code API. Let it go. This time is trying to access authorization. This redirect authorization code back to the browser, and the browser trying to access authorization endpoint. There, on every step, you can see how the course header is set. You can debug into it. Now, we got the login completed. When we click accept, nothing gonna happen. But when we click deny, before we click deny, I will set up another endpoint in another handler, which is a stateless auth handler. This is the handler trying to interact with the UI to handle the single page application. So let's set up here a breakpoint so that we can see what is the auth path coming into this, and how we handle the cookie deleting when we click deny. Here we click deny, and you can see we still got triggered in the course handler. We just remove this and we go to next. You can see the control goes to the stateless auth handler. It first checks the exchange path. What's the auth path from the configuration, to see what's the auth path from configuration. This time actually is deny. We can debug into it, and you can see we come here and we try to remove cookies because you deny the authorization. In this case, we just remove all the cookies from the server, and then we send back the exchange. In this case, we come back to control, and you can see from the browser all the cookie actually is removed. You can see here we don't have any cookie anymore. Okay, so this is the introduction for the standalone debugging. In the next video, I'm gonna show you how to use the Docker container to do the remote debugging. Bye.